7 to 8 times out of 10, that's during that main feeding time, the bigger ones. So that's something good to keep in the back in your notes. All right, this one right here is my favorite time of the year to swim a jig, by far. This is late April to June here in Alabama. This is when the shad start spawning, and man, you can get right in a hurry. I throw a 1/4 ounce and I throw a 3/8, the Davis Beast. The 1/4, well, let me just go through there real quick and then I'll get into some of that. I use the 3-inch swimming crawl, the Pearl. I think I got it right here, the same one I was showing y'all earlier. The shad spawn, like I said, that's my favorite time of the year. You're gonna get way more bites. You're gonna catch a lot of good fish, but you gotta weed out the small ones as well. Any type of structure that time of year. Shad will spawn on anything. I'm talking about, I've seen them spawn on we've had a storm the night before and the green leaves out there in the middle of the creek. I've seen them all over them. All right. Seawalls. You don't have to have grass. Seawalls is a primary place to swim a jig. When I'm fishing a seawall, you know, it's the same way as that fishing them parallel in that grass. But I'm gonna hit the point of that seawall. Most time, you see a lot of flat seawalls, all right? But you'll see a lot of rounded ones too, you know. I like the rounded ones better because most time the rounded ones, they'll take all that dirt and stuff when they built that seawall and push it in the middle, right out in front. So it makes a high spot right there, all right? So I'll take that swimming jig and throw it right against the wall and swim it out. And when I'm swimming it out, I'm swimming like I'm doing the Alabama shake, all right? Like the Holy Spirit's in me, all right? So when you get through fishing that seawall, you go right over to that dock, and that's where I'm gonna pick up the 3/8, all right? The 3/8, a lot of times, them shad will spawn in the back ends of these docks. Smith Lake, for example, man, they got 1 million docks on them. But this time of year, the shad spawn is on the docks. The bigger spotted bass, bigger largemouth, they're gonna key on them, especially the ones that's got the lights on them at night because it draws them, and then daylight comes. I've seen them spawn. One of my buddies, Brent Crow, we stayed up there at his house for the regional championship a couple years ago. It was in April. And we'd leave his place in Rock Creek and drive all the way over to the dam. That's where we took off. So in the morning time, we'd go down there and he had a light hanging down there. It was, I don't know, 5 o'clock, blast off 6:30 or something like that. I'm not exaggerating, there was over 3,000 shad just circling, and you could hear them popping. I had eggs on my lower unit throughout the night from the shad. So, man, you can get right in a hurry just like on a grass line, fishing seawalls and a dock. But the docks, you're gonna throw that bigger size, that 3/8, because you can skip it all the way to the very back of it, and it's gonna stay, you know, 1 foot, 2 foot up on the surface and still work it just like you normally would. But the key to that is when you're fishing these docks, you want to fish all the way, you want to throw the floating docks in front of a pier is what you really want, pier pilings. Most time them fish are going to be hanging, the bigger bass are going to be hanging around them pilings where the shads are hanging around that floating dock right there. So skipping it all the way up under there, you're going to get, you know, more time in that zone to get them followed out and then get them. You can catch a few on the side of the docks, you know, just casting up there, but your bigger ones, they're going to come from way up under it. The clumps of grass, we'll talk about grass now. The clumps of grass on a main stretch of, I guess you can call it willow grass. I'm going to call it stalk grass or river grass. This time of year in Alabama, or not, in May through June, up on top of a river ledge, again, and Neely Henry is notorious for it, Up on top of that ledge at the bank, there'll be a mile long river grass. Stalk grass is sitting up, that's what I'm calling it, just stalk grass up this high. All right. Try to find the grass that comes away from the bank and kind of makes like a U shape, or just comes out and makes a line and dips back in. There'll be grass from that dipped out place back behind that main line that's got different clumps of grass back there. Them bigger fish tend to stay there and feed on the bigger clumps behind that grass. If you're going down a stretch of that willow grass or river grass, and you'll see it start breaking up, and you'll see a line of it, and then in breakups you'll see a little line of it, but you'll see one big clump of it, like on an edge of it. That's where I want to target too. And when I make this cast, there's two approaches to this. When I'm fishing the main river grass, I like to parallel it. I'm talking about, here's the grass line right here. Here's the front of my trolling motor, where I can cast right down it and pull it no further than 2 to 3 foot off of it. I want to try to stay right on the edge. Like, here's the grass line, here's my jig. I want it staying right there, so I get more opportunity to get a bite. Stays in that strike zone longer. If I see them clumps back here, I'm going to throw it way back in there and then work it up to the clump, just like we would earlier in the year. You don't never throw right to the clump. It's just like a bedding bass. They sit in there. They know who's there. That's their home. So with that being said, paralleling that river grass will get you more bites that time of year. And another key factor that you want to look for, and this is a biggie, in the shad spawn, look for your blue herons and look for your white birds. I like white birds more than blue herons. White birds migrate down here. They ain't here to stay, so they're going to the beef on the buffet. All right, they're here for a short time. They ready to get full. Blue herons, they're local birds. They're just going to hang out. So if I'm going down a bank and I see if I see a white bird, white crane sitting there, I ain't worried about it. If I make that bend and there's 25 sitting there, yeah, I'm gonna whoop that nitro over there because it's about to go down. And it's gonna be real quick. Like, shad spawn usually don't like, I mean, if you got a cloudy day, you can, you have a longer time. But most of the time, you're gonna have it in the first 20 minutes and it's over. It's just like late when we fished down there. We didn't blast off at 7 o'clock. Lord help, at 6:19, I don't know this for a fact because I looked at my time. 3 years ago, me and my dad had 21 something in 19 minutes. Blast off at 5:50 and got to our spot. In 19 minutes we had, I mean, it just bam, bam, bam. But that's when they was feeding.